Andrea, Tom, Frankie, it is so awesome to be with you. And I want to let you know that you have the ability to lead through adversity because adversity is your friend, not your foe. Adversity is a brilliant opportunity to grow. I have discovered men and women like yourselves who lead through adversity. They do one thing: they grab hold to the steering wheel of the future and they look through the windshield of what is possible instead of the rear view mirror of what happened yesterday. And understanding that you have the ability to take control of the steering wheel of the future really comes down to understanding that connectedness is the new currency. When I intend to lead, I realize I must first be connected internally to really transform everything externally. So, what does this connectedness look like internally? And it really starts with a few questions. And I'm curious how many of you, and if you'll just post this in the chat, how many of you absolutely love what you do in event planning? How many of you love what you do? Just put yes, yes, yes if you love what you do. Because I believe when you love what you do, thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Gigi. Uh, Gigi says, not even a bit plain, but I love what I do. Helen said, definitely. Christy said, yes. Here's the deal. When you love what you do, that means you have internal alignment, which creates external execution, or what Rabbi Harold Kushner calls emotional congruence. When I have emotional congruence, it means in the midst of adversity, everything that I think, everything that I do, everything that I say is in alignment. And when I am in alignment, I'm in flow. And when I'm in flow, it allows me to understand that the opportunity to lead in the midst of uncertainty is to recognize everything you need to thrive is on the inside of you. So you're saying, okay, Simon, that's great. How do I continue to lead through adversity and maintain this way of living? And here's the first thing I want you to think about. Take out a sheet of paper. You can do this now or you can do it later, and write down what's right about you. Because when I focus on what's right about me, then no matter what I'm experiencing, no matter what is happening all around me, I'm focused on what's right instead of what's wrong. The second thing is I begin to recognize that I can celebrate what I'm most grateful for instead of worrying about what may happen or did happen. And literally you're reframing, refocusing, and taking charge of how you lead. But here's the other interesting thing. I was interviewing an executive a couple of days ago, and I said, what are you doing to lead through adversity? And he said, I'm understanding the power of empathy. Empathy is walking a mile in the shoes of others to perhaps just see through their lens what's happening real time. And I believe all of us understand the power of empathy. How many of you would agree that empathy is important right now? If so, just put yes in the chat. Yes in the chat if you believe empathy is so important. Yeah. So really leading through adversity is when I am totally connected within myself. I have what psychologists call emotional regulation. And when I have emotional regulation, that allows me to be empathetic. Empathetic simply means I have the bandwidth and the ability to understand what's happening around me. So in other words, I move from me to we. So here's what I want to do. If we can launch that first polling question, I'd love to just see what the feedback that all of you may have as it relates to this particular question. So we'll launch that first polling question. I project a positive, healthy, and realistic self-image in every situation. Okay, now I would almost play the Jeopardy music, but I'll stick to my day job. Oh, what the heck? Doom, 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 boom, ba da 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 doom, 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 boom, ba da boom, boom, doom, doom, boom, doom. All right, we'll give you just a few seconds. All right, so here's the results. We have 38% say always, 63% say sometimes. All right, so here's what I want us to think about. What can I do to project a positive, healthy, and realistic self-image? I just posted something in LinkedIn yesterday, and it's an article that I discovered in Inc. magazine entitled 10 Magic Words to Use in Any Video Meeting for People to Like You Better. And one of the phrases was, how can I help you? Or let me be honest with you. That's another phrase. Those are phrases that allows you to be realistic, and all of a sudden people say, whoa, I want to connect because you're coming from a positive angle to say, how can I help you? So when you think about leading through adversity, and all of you just answered this first question, it allows us to put the mirror in front of ourselves to say, how am I showing up? Now, if the truth be told, I will admit, with probably the last 6 months, I hit a pocket where I was negative Ned. I was more negative than an undeveloped piece of film. In Texas, they would say, bless his heart, right? And what I recognized is I needed to get out of my own way. How many of you at some level over the last 6 months, you hit just a pocket, little turbulence, and you felt negative just for a moment with everything that's happening in the world, right? Right? So what I recognize is losers look at what they're going through while champions look at what they're going to. And men and women that really decide to lead, they do one practical thing. They upgrade their verbal software. In other words, they understand that language is the software of the mind. And when I upgrade my verbal software, I'm very mindful of if I'm going to stay connected, empathetic, operating in emotional congruence, having emotional regulation, I'm very mindful of the words that I use every single day. All right, here's the second thing that happens. I think it's so critically important. When I am projecting a positive image, and this is something that all of us can do, especially in this virtual world, we begin to understand that hearing is a courtesy, but listening is a compliment. And when I listen, I recognize the same letters that spell the word listen, spell the word silent. So hearing is a courtesy, but listening is a compliment. What would it be like in leading through adversity to really begin to listen at that deeper level, to say, you know, Adrian, here's what I heard you say. Alyssa, here's what I heard you say. Andrea, Brooke, here's what I heard you say. Is this what you meant? And that ability to come alongside someone, what? Absolutely amazing. All right, now I want to go to the second polling question because I'd be curious just to hear your feedback in this second polling question as we begin to think about habits. I have to have new habits to create the best outcomes, all right? So, all of you that are joining us, thank you so much for just joining us. Go ahead and take the poll as you're coming in. Absolutely awesome. Give you just a few more seconds to answer this question. Okay, all right. We can, all right, I think we have just about everyone. All right, so 25% say always, 75% say sometimes. All right, now here's why this is important as it relates to habits and leading through adversity. You don't decide the future. We didn't see the global pandemic coming. We didn't see racial injustice coming. We didn't see the economic uncertainty that is all around us. But here's the deal. You don't decide the future, you decide your habits, and your habits decide the future. The secret to really leading through adversity is hidden in your daily routine. So something practical that I would invite all of us to think about is, how do I look at how am I showing up when something happens, when change happens, an announcement is made? I want to invite you to practice just slowing down in order to speed up. So for you, what's the new habit that perhaps you have developed within the last 30, 60, 90 days? I'm just curious. Put it in the chat. A new habit, a new way of thinking. For me, I've lost 25 pounds. What? In the last 3 months, because I cut the carbs and I cut the sugars. All right. So clean eating, yes. All right. Thank you so much. Who else? What's the new habit that you have decided you are going to pursue? You can post in the chat. Whatever that habit is deciding the future. Christy, congratulations. Monique, look at you. What? Rachel, self-compassion, awesome. So the habits that you have developed, don't miss this. The moment you decided that you were going to pursue this habit, that habit is creating the future. So the future is created in the present, right? And when you arrive into the future, you call it today, but everything that you did yesterday, habit, meets you in the future and says, welcome, we've been waiting for you. So yes, goal setting is important, but creating habits is more important. So for those of you who are saying, you know what, Simon, as I am leading, I need to think about my team, the organization, those who I collaborate with, and is there a new habit that you want to develop? All right, let's go to the third and final polling question, because I think this is such a great question and I can't wait to hear your feedback. I know what I need to do to stay engaged, to produce meaningful work that matters. Okay, meaningful work that matters. Thank you, Christy, for your comment. Oh, awesome, awesome. All right, give you about 10 more seconds. I know what I need to do to stay engaged, to produce meaningful work that matters. Yeah, all right, give you a few seconds. Hello to all of you that are just joining us. Please feel free to jump in and take the poll. We're looking at leading through adversity. All right, give you about another 5 seconds there, and then we'll wrap this up. Alyssa, I love that. Start by making my bed too. Good, but it's a good habit. My husband would take that on. All right, let's stop the poll. So we had 37% say always, awesome, and 63% say sometimes. All right, thank you for your honesty. Here's what I want us to consider. Pre-COVID-19, men and women who went to work all over the world, and at some level, they settled for a chair, a check, and a cup of coffee in Cubicle Farm, and have since woke up during COVID-19 to say, wait a minute, I made money, but I didn't have meaning. I was pursuing power or position, but I didn't have purpose. And I was chasing success, but I didn't have significance. And leading through adversity really comes down to, if I'm going to truly be internally connected, producing meaningful work, how do I really focus on being significant? Because when I am significant within myself, I become significant for everyone else around me. Thus, I can grab hold to the steering wheel of the future, looking through the windshield, telling all of the backseat passengers of fear, worry, and stress to get into alignment, because I choose to lead, not because I have to, but because I want to. All right, I'm going to stop there, and I want to open up for any questions that you might have. And we have just a few minutes to go. So certainly, if you have a question for me, take yourself off of mute. Heidi, if they can take themselves off of mute or turn your video on, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. in regards to anything that I shared these last few moments in leading through adversity. Wow, everybody's quiet. I'm
You should
curious.
be able to unmute yourselves, guys. But raise your hand. There's emotional reactions in there. Let us
Well,
know.
Simon, you just made me feel very good about my 6-month sabbatical of me. Thank
Wow,
you.
thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much. So appreciate that, Christy. Who else? And do me a favor, post in the chat, what was a key takeaway for you over the last few moments? What was a key takeaway? You can post in the chat or certainly ask a question before I put somebody on the spot. Oh, internal alignment. Thank you, Nicole. Equals external execution. Thank you so much, Natalie. So kind. Monique. Quick tips on how to shift a positive mindset when you get down in the dumps. Okay, great question. So when you get down in the dump, the best way to shift into a positive mindset is to practice something called calm commotion. Clinical psychologists teach when you access a happy state, think of the happiest state or happiest moment in your life. Get a mental visual of that happy moment and attach a feeling or emotion to it, Monique, and everyone. When you attach that feeling or emotion in that state, allow that feeling or emotion in the happiest moment ever. Let it move down through your neck, through your shoulders, through your arms, your hands, down through your gut. 80% of your nervous system is in your gut. Let it move down through your legs and your feet. And then what I always invite audiences to do is I will count to 3. Normally your eyes are closed, but in the essence of time, I won't have you do it here. And I'll count 1, 2, 3, and open your eyes and say out loud the first thing that comes to mind in that state. What you've done, Monique, is you totally shifted from being down in the dumps to rising back up to the mountain by accessing a happy state. So clinical psychologists call it calm commotion. It's the ability to shift the state and see how I fit today in the moment, okay? Thank you for that question. All right. Listen, I want to be very, very respectful of the time. I think I have like 1 minute left. So if you have any other questions, and by the way, how many of you loved Rachel? Was Rachel just like the bomb.com? Was she like awesome, amazing? I want to be like Rachel when I grow up.
Rachel's actually coming on right after you.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you know what? Let me use my last 30 seconds and let me tell you how.
You have 2 minutes.
I have 2 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So let me take 1 minute to tell you about Rachel and then I'll do a 1 minute wrap. I met Rachel a few years ago when I was speaking in Baltimore at an event, and we've kind of kept in contact over the last few years. And over the last year, I have seen her just literally go to the top. She is probably one of the smartest individuals that I've ever come into contact with in Boston, even though she's in Baltimore, but she's like wicked smart. She's married to an amazing man named Bill. And I have mad respect for Rachel. So you're going to learn a lot from her. And I'm glad I'm going before her because I should take notes from Rachel. She's the best. Okay, so I talked about leading through adversity. And here's how I'm going to put a little bow on it and then throw it back to Heidi. I don't know when I'm going to see you again, but I believe that love and respect have no color. So when I am leading through adversity, I recognize that you are a human being just like I am a human being. And the reason we were not born in the 18th century is because we weren't needed. We exist now in the 21st century. So in other words, and let me say this in my closing, Tom, Darcy, Yoko, Tammy, Timothy, Bonnie, Amy, Camille, Rachel, Diane, Natalie, Jamie, Pam, Paige, Catherine, Maylene, Lynn, Catherine, I need you. I need you. I cannot be the best version of myself and lead through adversity without you, oh brilliant one. I love you. I believe in all of you. and there's not a darn thing you can do about it. I am Simon T. Bailey.
Woohoo! Everybody, hands up for Simon. Yay! Thank you so much. And I apologize because there's so many Rachels involved with the age of conversation today. And the Rachel you mean and the Rachel I mean are both in this room. So there's lots of Rachel love here. Way to go. Thank you, Simon. I'm going to end the recording here. We've